So Beyond Two Souls came out, what, a couple of weeks ago? So in Eternity's terms, I guess this is still kind of topical. See, we need to talk about David Cage, people. See, this is a man whom I feel in many ways is grinding this wonderful medium into the ground, yet enjoys quite a status among developers, which I feel to be ill-deserved, and I'm going to try and unpack that statement, so do me a solid and listen. The man's a scourge. Roll the titles. A little background then. David Cage is a French fellow who rose from being a humble composer to the head developer of Quantic Dream, and somehow in the process became an, inverted commas, influential force in the industry. Props to the guy for that, all the goddamn props in the world, but Jesus of all people, why this guy? Because you see, mon ami Monsieur Cage fosters a number of rather ill-considered views, which marries uncomfortably with his status. Kildamage. Cage has a pretty low opinion of the industry that he's situated himself in. That in itself is no crime, of course. I mean, much as I adore this medium, there's more than a little bit to be critical of or concerned about. But Cage's concerns are my own. They don't overlap.
Emotion in games? What are you talking about? Tell me what gun you have and what car you drive and how many levels. I think the next big, important evolution in the video game industry is meaning.
See, I'm aware of no other director who has such disdain for the medium that he's working in. Cage feels that traditional gaming is languishing in a kind of perpetual adolescence, and instead he strives for an experience that makes you feel something. However, in his eyes, this seems to come at the price of player autonomy. The games are barely played, the gameplay consisting of naught but quick-time events with the occasional largely illusionary instance of volition thrown in for the shits and the giggles. But I could go on for another couple of videos discussing Cage's fallacious and ill-considered attitudes towards player involvement, and indeed I may, but today I'm engaging with a more fundamental problem with Cage's IPs. To use first-year law speak, Cage's games are not delivered as advertised. He is never able to quite actualise his ethos in the games he releases. The problem with Cage can be gleaned from this clip.
I remember when I was a younger designer, I pitched games to publishers, and I remember this famous meeting with an American publisher, and I was trying to explain what Indigo Prophecy was about. It was really about storytelling and emotion and relationships and characters. And he asked me, so what kind of weapons has the hero? And I said, well, the hero doesn't have a weapon. So he seemed embarrassed, and he said, oh, okay, I got it. So he drives cars? No, he doesn't drive cars. He seemed embarrassed again, and he said, oh, he jumps on platforms? No, he doesn't jump on platform. And his reaction was, then it's not a game.
Look, there's a valid point languishing somewhere in what was just said. The homogenization of game styles and aesthetics continues to be a fervent issue. And, I'd like to delve into it at some of the point, but the pertinent thing to take away from this clip is that it exhibits that David Cage labours under this belief that he's able to provide a more, substantial and, dare I say, adult alternative to the gun porn, etc. And, oh, do I question that. See, he's trying to make a point here about his fucking ascendant approach. He feels that the experiences he provides are mercifully bereft of such fantastical, overly dramatic nonsense that typically populates game scenarios, completely forgetting to mention the fact that the protagonist in this particular game has magic Dragon Ball Z/Matrix powers and is a fucking ice zombie. And this epitomizes the problem I have with Cage. There's a quantifiable level of dissonance between the games he desires to make and the games that he actually makes. Now, my wrist is sore for uncommonly productive reasons, so I'm leaving it there for the moment. But stay tuned for part 2, where I substantiate what I've just said with damning evidence. Should be good. See you then. Au revoir.